dear students. I hope this finds you well. We are now going to continue our study about histology, and this is going to be the second part. Simple epithelium. Simple squamous epithelium. The simple squamous epithelium, which is thin and leaky, functions in the exchange of material by diffusion. This type of epithelium lines blood vessels and the air sacs of the lungs, where diffusion of nutrients and gases is critical. This kind of epithelium is thin. The reason why it is located in different organs that assume the exchange between one environment and another one. For example, it will be found in lungs in order to assume the exchange of gas between the outer environment and the organism, especially blood. It will also be found in capillaries. Capillaries, which are blood vessels that allow the exchange of requirements such as glucose, oxygen, etc. between blood and surrounding tissues. As you can see on this diagram, the simple squamous epithelium is made of flat cells or scaly or squamous cells. We know already that this kind of tissue is found in capillaries, but it is also found in respiratory organs such as lungs. Lungs in vertebrate animals except fish. That to say, this kind of tissue is found in lungs of birds, of mammals, reptiles, and amphibians. This tissue is also found in the skin of some animals, such as amphibians and earthworms. That to say, in earthworms and amphibians, the skin is very thin, made of a simple epithelium, one layer of cells, and this is very important because it helps the animal to exchange with the outer environment, to exchange in terms of oxygen and CO2. The same tissue is also found in gills in fish and tadpoles. Tadpoles, you remember, these are young amphibians. Gills are also found in snails, etc. This tissue will also be found in very small branches of the tracheal system of insects. Those branches are known as tracheals. These should be thin enough and permeable in order to allow the exchange of gas required by those animals. Simple columnar epithelium. The simple columnar epithelium lines the intestines. This epithelium secretes digestive juices and absorbs nutrients. The main location of this kind of epithelium is the small intestine, and you remember that this is the site where the most important part of digestion of food and absorption of nutrients takes place. This diagram shows the simple columnar epithelium, and the principal thing to notice here is the presence of goblet cells. Goblet cells, because of their shape, obviously, which are cells specialized in the mucus production and secretion. The same cells are found in aerial passages such as nose and trachea. They're also found in the digestive tube, especially in the mouth, the stomach, and intestines. and they are particularly abundant in the female reproductive tract, especially in the vagina. The simple cuboidal epithelium is another category of epithelial tissue, which is formed of dice-shaped cells. This is specialized for secretion, and it makes up the epithelium of kidney tubules and many glands, including the thyroid gland and salivary glands. Here I should remember that kidney tubules are commonly known as nephrons, and nephrons are regarded as units of structure and function of kidneys. Nephrons are very important in kidneys because they assume the regulation of water and soluble substances in the blood by filtering the blood, reabsorbing what is needed, and excreting the rest as urine. The pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. When an epithelium is pseudostratified, it appears to be layered, but true layers do not exist because each cell touches the basement membrane. A pseudostratified epithelium gives a fake impression or image that it is made of many layers of cells, but when you look closely, you will see that all cells are posed, or they lie on the basement membrane, a proof to show that they are not multi-layered but uni-layered or simple. The lining of the windpipe is a pseudo-stratified ciliated columnar epithelium. A screeched covering of mucus traps foreign particles, and the upward motion of the cilia carries the mucus to the back of the throat, from where it may be either swallowed or spat. Cilia are very important because they prevent dust and foreign particles from reaching lungs. Should you remember that smoking destroys cilia of this tissue, thus increasing risks of infections in lungs and other parts of the respiratory system, such as the windpipe and bronchi. This diagram shows the main characteristics of a pseudo-stratified epithelium, which give them an image, a fake image of being multi-layered or stratified, while they are simple or mono-layered or uni-layered. You can see here that cells present different heights. Presenting different heights leads to that some cells don't reach the upper surface. So some cells look like they are posed on the top of others. And also, in addition, nuclei are positioned at different levels. So having cells which do not reach the upper surface and nuclei positioned at different levels, all these combined characteristics will give us a fake image of being stratified or multi-layered, which is not the case when you look closely to the tissue. Stratified epithelium, for example, stratified squamous epithelium. Stratified epithelium have layers of cells piled one on top of the other. Only the bottom layer touches the basement membrane. The nose, mouth, esophagus, anal canal, and the vagina are all lined with stratified squamous epithelium. The outer layer of skin is also a stratified squamous epithelium, but the cells have been reinforced by keratin, a protein that provides strength. Stratified epithelium are present mainly in regions subjected to friction. For example, the skin, esophagus, anus, vagina, etc. In the skin, the keratin is important because we first know that it is used for the formation of skin appendages, that is to say scales, nails, horns, feathers, hooves, hair, etc. But here it is very important because it waterproofs the skin. Why anal sex is more likely to transmit HIV than the vaginal penetration? The stratified epithelium in the anus is made of fewer layers in comparison to the stratified epithelium in the vagina. This means that any friction of the penis and the anus is more likely to cause injuries than in the vagina. This then explains why gays or homosexual people are on a very high risk of contracting HIV than heterosexual people. Stratified squamous epithelium regenerates rapidly by cell division near the basal lamina. The new cells are pushed outward, replacing cells that are sloughed off or removed off. This epithelium is commonly found on surfaces subject to abrasion, such as the outer skin and linings of the esophagus, anus, and vagina. Here you should also note that stratified cuboidal and stratified columnar epithelium occur in the body. The mitosis occurs to regenerate the stratified squamous epithelium, as we have seen that the uppermost layers will slough off or removed off continually when we wash up our body, for example. So the mitosis occurs in cells located near the basal lamina because cells in the uppermost layers are dead. These cells, I mean the dead cells, slough off, for example, when we wash our body. So you should note that if those dead cells are not permanently removed by washing up our body, they can serve as an important source of food for bacteria and other microbes, which is likely to cause many skin infections. This diagram shows a stratified epithelial tissue or a stratified epithelium. As you can see, it is made of many layers of cells. One thing you should principally notice is that all cells do not present the same shape. Some cells are flat, others are cuboidal. Remember that when we are in presence of this kind of epithelium, we regard the uppermost layers to give a name. That to say, as the uppermost layers are made of flat cells, this will be a stratified squamous epithelium. Remember also that the basement membrane separates our stratified epithelium from a connective tissue beneath. You should know that blood vessels are found in the connective tissue. So cells near the basement membrane are the first ones to receive food, principally glucose, and oxygen for survival and mitotic division. This then explains why cells far from the basement membrane are likely to die and unable to divide. The reason why they have to be sloughed off or removed off from the skin, especially when we wash up our body. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed our lesson. See you next time.